And I think it was a mistake because still the situation in Libya is not ready to accept this. But I would like just to add something very important. My opinion is not like a surprise to the prime minister. There is no way that the minister of foreign affairs of a country going to meet another minister of foreign affairs where the prime ministers of the two countries doesn't know it. They
Yeah.
must send a Mangouche just to check the reaction on the street. And once the reaction was quite violent, so he stepped back and pushed her on the
And,
front, but they
uh,
are all involved.
Joining me today on the Capital Show, Raphael Luzon. He's chairman of Union of Libyan Jews and one of the director of Mina 2050. You are most welcome.
Thank you.
Raphael, we would like to utilize your excellent experience on Libya. Therefore, my first question is, how do you describe the situation in Libya right now? And is there any practical way to end the division in the country?
The situation is better than a few years ago. I mean, if we are continually trying to find an agreement between the parties, they are divided by parties, and there are no first battles more like 2015. But there is a sort of agreement, groups, areas of interest managed by each group independently have been created. Now, each group is independent. There are a lot of efforts that the American envoy, Ambassador Nolan, and United Nations envoy Batili are making to improve the atmosphere, but mainly the population nowadays is very upset and fed up about the Bayiba government, considered it very highly corrupted, and serious attempts, legal, also less legal, are being made to replace it with another government of they call it a group of technocrats.
Mm-hmm.
Every few days, sometimes, especially the last couple of weeks, local clashes break out, especially in the Tripoli area, between various groups. The last one, 2 weeks ago, caused around at least 150 deaths.
Mm-hmm. This is very bad. We cannot escape the conversation on the Russian militia known as the Wagner Group. People are curious to know, is the Wagner Group still influenced in Libya?
Not like before. The Wagner Group almost no longer exists after the start of the war in Ukraine, because mainly all the efforts has been done now during the war. So the special group that was on the area of Tripoli now just gone.
That's good news. What about Libya's neighbors? Egypt is a nation with over 100 million people. My question is, how does Egypt influence or impact Libya right now?
Egypt supports Libya's side under the influence of Fed Marshal Haftar. Historically, the eastern part of Libya, the border between Egypt and Libya, has always been targeted by Egypt because I don't know if everyone knows that for almost a century ago, about 8 million of Egyptians are Libyan origin. So they live still today at the border with Libya. So El-Sisi, and also before El-Sisi, any Egypt president had, watch Libya as at least the oriental part of Libya as a part to conquer, if not militarily, at least politically.
Mm-hmm. I would like to move to another strategic area. I'm going to talk about Sudan and its trouble. How does the troubled Sudan affect Libya?
Well, at the moment, I think Sudan has a small impact on Libya, especially the south of Libya with borders with Sudan, Chad, is mainly inhabited by the Tabu tribe, who are also part of them Sudanese origin. And this keeps the borders relatively quiet. The Libyan armed force, few weeks ago, under the command of Field Marshal Khalifa Haftar, have launched a large-scale military operation in the southern region, just close to Sudan, bordering with the Chad. And the Libyan Armed Force units, what they call it, Libyan Armed Force, have launched a large and target military operation at the southern border just to protect the Libyan borders and the capabilities and the security.
What about Niger? Is there any implication for the military coup in Niger with what is happening now in Libya?
No, as far as I know, the situation is being monitored, of course, closely, but there are no problems so far.
Do you see any political future for Saif al-Islam Gaddafi?
As I told you, I think the only political future can be if he organizes himself not to be on the front, to be, on the back, because on the front is quite difficult. Unless, in politics, never say never.
Let's talk about energy resources in Libya. Can you tell us more about Libya's Sharara oil field and its resumption of production after the end of protest?
Yeah, not only Sharara, always, also very, very involved, the Italian company, Eni, since 50 years ago. And the Libyan, just this last week, the Libyan oil company called NOC just announced the country production exceeded 1.2 million, where under Gaddafi was 1.4 billion. And after the revolution, it dropped down in 40,000, can you imagine? And but the last week, they announced officially that they raised back to 1.2 million barrels. So, but every month the situation changed also because as I told you, the petrol now is not under totally the state like before. Now each area has got their influence on the petrol. So it's sort of divided in industry.
The most important piece of news now circulating, it's about Libya's meeting, the meeting between Cohen and Manouche. How do you reflect this recent meeting between the Israeli Foreign Affairs Minister and the Libyan one?
This thing I was quite involved at the beginning. I organized in 2017, 6 years ago, a big convention in Rhodes, where I managed to bring Libyan ministers and Israeli ministers officially. They came there under the suspicion of under the cover of the media. Al Jazeera was there for live section many times. And since there, when they broke the ice, let's say, I organized some secret meetings between Israelis and Libyan officials in some places in Europe, just made the contact. And then I took a step back, and the diplomats carry on, and they arrived at this meeting. I don't know if this is the first one, but the first one that has been discovered. And I think it was a mistake because still the situation in Libya is not ready to accept this. But I would like just to add something very important. My opinion is not like a surprise to the Prime Minister. There is no way that the Minister of Foreign Affairs of a country going to meet another Minister of Foreign Affairs where the Prime Ministers of the two countries doesn't know it.
Yeah.
They send a Mangouche just to check the reaction on the street. And once the reaction was quite violent, so he stepped back and pushed her on the front, but they're all involved.
They throw her under the bus, we say.
Yes.
Another question. So you assume that the people in Libya are not ready for any accord, any kind of...
No, I would like to correct you. I'm very, very involved in the Libya situation in general. I also sometimes have been mediator between the parts. I must tell you that 2 hours after the news came out, I received in 2 hours hundreds of emails of Libyan very enthusiastic, very happy. And that part of the population that absolutely seeks to be in good relationship with the Jewish world, with Israel. But there are the minority that always is much more noisy than the majority, especially the Islamist extremists that also are taking, having a bad influence on the Baiba, that they are absolutely against. And they use also slogans that we stopped hearing in the 80s, in the 90s, Muqawma, like Abdullah. But many Libyans, they are writing to me and telling me why Bahrain, yes, and Morocco, yes, and Sudan, yes, and Egypt and Jordan, and not Libya. But so just to be precise, not all the Libyans are against this, just a minority that make a lot of noise.
Yeah, I would like to address the Turkish role in Libya, especially after the re-election of President Erdogan. Do you think that Erdogan is still interested in playing a role, an active role in Libya, and which is it a bad role or in a positive way?
I don't say bad or good. Erdogan is always interested in having influence in Libya, also during Gaddafi time. Already a few years that he sent in 2015, I think, he sent around 2,000 soldiers, Turkish soldiers, to strengthen the Libyan armed force in Tripoli. Lately, the interest is greater because also have to bear in mind that there is linked to the big what do you call it, the gas passing through Cyprus, through Europe, and Turkey is very, very interested in this. And this is pipeline is just a few kilometers from the Libya borders. So it's still having influence, but not so much. Because I tell you, the Libyan population is fed up from external interviews, from Egypt, from Qatar, from Turkey, from Russia. They went to Libya for the Libyans.
Yeah, about the Middle East diplomacy of Libya. Libya under Gaddafi used to be interfering in many Arab countries. Now there is support from UAE, Saudi Arabia towards Libya. How do you see that?
This is normal because we went through the 70s, 80s in way down the world, especially in the Middle East and North Africa. There were not more Arabs against Israelis. Russia against America. Now, the moderate countries like Saudi, like as you said, with America and Libya, part of Libya, they are against the what they call it the extremists, like Qatar, like Iran, like part of Lebanon. So this is a situation that is going to be developed in a dramatic way in the next 1-2 months. You will hear, that will tell you for sure, the official declaration that for a relationship between Saudi Arabia and Israel.
I want to ask about the role of the humanitarian role of United Arab Emirates in Libya.
Yeah, they are helping a lot, but also, let's say, speak very clearly, no one is doing nothing for not interest. Everyone is interested in something. The Emirate doesn't need the petrol and the Libyan money, but they would like to be influenced also because they heard that Qatar is going inside, so they have to equilibrate the influence.
Back to the domestic situation, what is the status of the Libyan elections right now?
This is a long story. Election has been scheduled and postponed from time to time. Last postponement was December of 2 years ago, 24th of December. They choose the 24th of December because it's the date of the Libyan independence in 1951. Now they postpone it. Now there's a talk again of next December, but I don't believe absolutely that they will in time to organize it. What they're try to building up now is a sort of changing this actual government with an interim government that prepare as 1 year to prepare the election, and then we'll see. If they will not postpone it again, the situation is still unclear.
You have good insights about the population of Libya. What can you tell our viewers about the community of Libyan Jews? How do they live?
The Libyan Jews, first of all, there are no Libyan Jews since 1967 in Libya. The Jews lived in Libya nearly 2,000 years. And until 67, when the Israeli Arab war starts in June 67, there were an assault to the Jewish people, killed people, all the shops burned. And then after 2 weeks of clashes, all the Jewish community, Libyan Jewish community, has been thrown out, expelled, and they went to Italy mainly. And till now, there are nearly 6,000 Jews of Libya living in Rome and Milan and Italy and Britain. And but they maintain very good relation with the Libyans, the people of Libya. Once Gaddafi arrived, the doors were closed totally. And now that Gaddafi went down, we start again the renewed their relationship. As far as singles are very good relationship. All the Libyan Jews are still speaking Libyan Arab, Libyan languages, eating Libyan, married in a Libyan way, and so singing the Libyan song. So, but the government still is under the, as I told you, the influence of the Islamists. So at the moment is a bit the problem. Myself also, I've been in Libya, invited by Gaddafi in 2010, and in 2012 I went to Libya again after Gaddafi, and I've been kidnapped by Islamic militia in Benghazi.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
On the other hand, you have a very impressive biographical history. For instance, you are the founder of the group known the Rhodes Conference for Peace and Dialogue Between Nations and Religions. Can you tell us about your achievements here?
Not exactly. I'm always active for promoting interfaith dialogue and dialogue between the people. And with my organization, the Union of Libyan Jews, I organized this big convention, one of the big, organized many conventions. This was very big because it was the 50 years after the expulsion. And I told you because it was historical, because I managed to bring under the same roof Libyan minister with Israeli minister, with Iraqi ministers, Egyptian, the chairman, one of the chairman of the Yazidi people, and two ministers of the Palestinian Authority, all under the same roof, with dialogue, with eating together, dancing together. Everything is documented. And before this and after that, I'm all the time organizing events to bring together people for a dialogue, for peace, and for.
You scored more accomplishments. Can you tell us more about your role in Mina 2050 organization and how do you see its goals?
Well, Mina 2050 is an absolutely fantastic organization because there are members, top members, are everywhere in the world, especially from the Arab, Jewish, Middle East, North African world. Our aims are the environment, the regional cooperation, development of the area, cooperation between the people, different people, addressing the challenges of the region. I had the honor of both being part of this really noble organization and of being appointed, as I told you, one of the directors and trustee. Having this good contact with Libya, I will use my close contact with Libya at various levels to promote this type of activity that MENA pursues. Libya, I told you, has great development potential and is Africa's gateway to Europe and trade union. Having the right people like MENA has, I'm sure that with great human resources that we have in MENA, a great dream can be realized and make it real.
That's wonderful. Good news. Thank you, Raphael Luzon, for your time.
My pleasure.
It was a great meeting you.
Thank you very much indeed. Bye-bye.
Hey, Maria Malouf here. Please click to like and subscribe to Maria Malouf TV YouTube page and catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis. You will not get it anywhere else.